The X Factor was back with all the elements that have created such a big impact on viewers, both those who love or hate the show. Exaggerating, exploiting averagely talented 14-year-olds, mocking contestants who had personal or psychiatric problems, claims that we had seen several stars of the future, and a few hundred adverts. Apparently, it also featured the return of Cheryl Cole. I don't know if you caught a mention of it. Strictly speaking, it could have been called the Cheryl Cole Show, or the Cheryl and Simon Show. We saw so many contestants trembling over her return. Mind you, their admiration can't have been that big given all the references to Cheryl Cole which suggested they didn't know she isn't called that anymore. No one mentioned Cheryl Fernandez-Versini. Her fee to return obviously came at a price though. The famous booming voice of the X Factor, Peter Dixon, was sadly lacking, with Simon Cowell giving a particularly soft version of the declaration, "It's time to face the music" which always sounds more ominous than exciting. Hopefully Mel B, Louis Walsh, and Dermot O'Leary were being paid by the series rather than by the amount of time they were on screen. They might as well not have been there. Here's how the show's grand return went. The lavish, jokey opening film allows Simon Cowell to fulfill his dream of running the country, stepping out of what looks like number 10 to address the press and ask why is it our music is so renowned all over the world? Even though Mel B mentions Coldplay, the Rolling Stones and, modestly, the Spice Girls, the answer, it is implied, is obvious, because of the X Factor. Cowell and the other judges are shown swooping across London in helicopters and swish cars, like a cross between The Apprentice and The Avengers, with Cowell saying, "And so to our mission. A job so important I had to come home" namely, presumably, saving the show's falling ratings. The judges need no introduction but get one anyway. Dermot O'Leary explains this year's big innovation, a screen that allows the waiting contestants to watch the auditions. Exciting, but more for them than us. After a few adverts, an act finally appears. This is Blonde Electric, a female Jedward, only more irritating, which is the most impressive thing about them. Another was being able to sound either as if they were miming or their vocals had been auto-tuned. "We're British," one of them gabbles in an American accent. "We speak 5 languages. Seemingly all at once. I can't quite find the words." Drones Cheryl reminding us what made her such an articulate judge. Although they went through, they are destined to be remembered as the people that first gave the nation he phrase single Pringles. Dermot O'Leary explains how with a new age limit of 14, there are more contestants than ever to impress, meaning to exploit. The number of Junior Jake Bugg, Ed Sheeran wannabes with guitars sends Simon Cowell all Pete Townshend, smashing one up. "Why he's lost his mind," cries Cheryl. 15-year-old Reese Bibby's VT is longer than his audition, even though it mostly consists of Reese explaining how he once met Liam Gallagher, is nervous and that Simon Cowell is someone he wanted to impress. "Thanks for that, Reese. It's young, it's current, it's fresh," says Mel B, even though it was the usual dated more busking. She then adds "you're 15 and you're cute," which is much more pertinent. His success prompts one of Dermot O'Leary's famously penetrating interviews. "How do you feel now?" he asks 15-year-old Reese, who was 15. "I feel amazing," the 15-year-old says. Deep. After another cherubic teenager whose generic warbling we are meant to find astonishing, Cowell announces, "I'm going to say yes. It doesn't really matter what the other 3 say." 17-year-old Chloe O'Gorman claims, "I sing literally 24 hours a day." She hasn't met Liam Gallagher, but she does have his eyebrows. Mel B and Cheryl look on at her performance in wonderment, presumably in awe that the way she can actually sing in tune. Ben can't really sing but, more importantly, has brought a rose for Cheryl. "I really love life. I love animals. And I love Cheryl Cole," he declares. He sings his song purely for her, even walking over, and taking her hands, staring into her eyes. The others, cruelly, put him through, as does Cheryl herself, albeit reluctantly. She has subsequently doubled the number of bodyguards accompanying her wherever she goes. Contestants queue up to quiver over meeting Cheryl, even though if Cheryl really was this popular, she would have sold enough copies of her last record not to need to come back on the show.